Thank you for joining us as we reflect upon the extraordinary sacrifices made on behalf of our country by former American prisoners of war, as well as those who are still unaccounted for. We remember the heroism and sacrifices made by the tens of thousands of our fellow Americans who endured captivity in enemy hands, as well as those whose fate remain uncertain. Today, we observe POW MIA Remembrance Day, a day set aside to recognize those Americans who remain listed as prisoners of war or missing in action, and to remind everyone of our nation's commitment of keeping the promise to fully account for everyone listed as prisoners of war or missing in action.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
September 18th is National POW MIA Recognition Day. We honor and recognize our men and women who are prisoners of war and those who are still missing in action. Right now, more than 81,900 Americans remain missing. As a country, we are committed to making sure we fulfill our promise to our service members and that all of our missing heroes are returned home. In 1939, Boston's own Joe Finneran graduated from Jamaica Plain High School, where he was a standout athlete. He joined the Army 11 days after Pearl Harbor. First Lieutenant Joe Finneran was killed in action on August 1st, 1943, but remained missing for 76 years. In August of last year, he was identified and returned home to his family. He is now resting in peace next to his mother at Mount Benedict Cemetery in West Roxbury. When our heroes sign up to serve our country, they are prepared to make the sacrifice for our collective freedoms. Sometimes they have to endure unimaginable circumstances, and sometimes they pay the ultimate sacrifice, like First Lieutenant Finneran. We can never, ever thank them enough for their selflessness in protecting us and our families, and we can never repay them for their sacrifice. But we can honor their bravery and their service by keeping their memories and stories alive. That's what we commit to doing in the city, not just today, but every single day. And that is a promise we will always make to our heroes, both past and present, and we will always remember and honor them.
You may have seen chairs like this in other places, such as Fenway Park and the TD Garden. These chairs are also positioned in Boston City Hall, as well as the State House on Beacon Hill. It's also a symbol to those who have served or are still serving or are a military family, that their sacrifice will never be forgotten.
Hi, my name is Nikki Arell. I got my first MIA POW bracelet when I was 12 years old. My dad and I went down to the wall in Washington, D.C. And as he was a submarine veteran, he actually didn't know anybody who was MIA or POW at the time in the early 80s. But we did select Richard Mancini's bracelet, and his remains were repatriated and brought home to the United States, and he's buried in Arlington. I was able to give that bracelet to his older brother, and his son and I are still in very close contact. And he swears that Dad brought us together because I'm the sister his parents weren't able to give him. I now wear 4 other bracelets, and I pray for these guys, and I hope every day that they come home, that their families and their friends get some closure. And one of the ones that I'm closest to, and I really hope comes home, is Sergeant Rosso, and he's from Buffalo, New York, which is my hometown, and this was gifted to me by the guys that served with him.
Those who have served and those currently serving the uniformed services of the United States are ever mindful that the sweetness of enduring peace has always been tainted by the bitterness of personal sacrifice. We are compelled to never forget that while we enjoy our daily pleasures, there are others who have endured and may still be enduring the agonies of pain, deprivation, and internment. Some of you were very young or not yet born when the Vietnam War began. However, all Americans should never forget the brave men and women who answered our nation's call and served the cause of freedom in a very special way. Today is about remembering. To remember the prisoners of war. To remember those still missing in action. To remember and reiterate the pledge that this nation has made to account for every single service member who has yet to come home. As a retired veteran myself, I take great pride in how we, as Americans, continue to never forget those who have yet to come home. Recognize those who are prisoners of war and to support their families. We must uphold the legacy of those service members left unaccounted for and continue our commitment to our former prisoners of war. As we honor all former prisoners of war, it must be stated that these heroes have endured one of the greatest challenges, especially for us Americans, the loss of personal liberty. We also honor and support the families who never abandon hope for the captured and those who still hold out hope for the missing. The family's unwavering faith is an inspiration to us all. Today's servicemen and women can bravely and confidently serve knowing that if they too fall in battle, our nation will do everything in its power to bring them home. Such is the case of Army First Lieutenant Thomas Redgate. Lieutenant Redgate was 24 years old when he was killed during the Korean War. Recently, he was accounted for. In late 1950, Redgate was a member of Battery A, 48th Field Artillery Battalion, 7th Infantry Division. He was reported missing in action on December 11, 1950, when his unit was attacked by enemy forces near the Chosin Reservoir in North Korea. Following the battle, his remains could not be recovered. Although it has taken 70 years, Lieutenant Redgate will be coming home to be laid to rest at the Bourne National Cemetery here in Massachusetts. America continues to make every effort to bring our heroes home. This is a true testament of the dedication and determination to pay honor and tribute to our heroes.
Casket was carried across the tarmac at Logan today as the remains of Sergeant George Shapani were taken to a funeral home here in Arlington with a police escort. Firefighters hung a flag outside the funeral home for Sergeant Shapani, who served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. He died in 1951 after being a prisoner of war. For decades, his remains were unknown until last year when they were disinterred. Scientists were able to use modern technology to identify the Somerville native in January. Those who came out today to take part told us it was important for them to be here.
He gave the ultimate sacrifice in giving his life for serving our country.
So I heard about this recently from the folks here in the funeral home, and I said, what better way to come pay respects? Not only to the gentleman, but his service and his family.
Each morning, after the sound of reveille, military units conduct roll call of personnel present for duty and of those unaccounted for. Today, there are 39 such heroes from the Vietnam War who are unaccounted for here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. On this POW MIA Recognition Day, we present to you the names of these heroes who, while absent from our ranks, will forever be in our hearts. On behalf of Mayor Martin J. Welch and the City of Boston, we thank you for joining us. Let us remember and never forget our hero sacrifices. Remember them today, tomorrow, and especially when they come home. Remember.